Hi, my friend, it's Pat Sloan here. On our calendar today is a scavenger hunt and it is Limerick Day. Then what I'm going to do is show you the process of going through my rolling carts and the stuff on the top of the tables to put them where they're supposed to be and talk about a little bit of philosophy of cleaning up. Okay, so first, the scavenger hunt. No, let's do the limerick first because I don't do limericks. I'm terrible at it. I have a group of friends from high school, some ladies that I still stay in contact with, and most of them love limericks, and like on birthdays, they'll send you a birthday limerick and they're very good at it. I suck at it. So I just send a happy birthday note. But if you love limericks and you would like to write a quilting limerick, I would love to hear it. You can share it here at YouTube in the comments or over at my Facebook community, Quilt Along with Pat Sloan. Okay, so that will be to celebrate Limerick Day. Scavenger hunt. There we go. brain. Okay, the scavenger hunt for today, for this month. Every month I do one day the scavenger hunt. So what you're going to show today is an item in your sewing room that you use that is not really designed for sewing. Not the general stuff like, like lamps, some of them are designed exactly for sewing, that one is, but others, you use lamps. Not that general stuff. Something else that might be a little bit unique, something that helps you do your job as a quilt maker. I don't have a lot of those kind of things myself, but one thing I do have that I totally love is this old sap bucket. At least that's what I was told when I purchased it many years ago. I've probably had this over 20 years. And it was purchased from a little, vintage shop kind of a thing. And I love that it's red, of course, red, everything red. And it's kind of beat up and it has the hole, so I guess that's where you would nail it to the tree. So I use it as my trash bin and it makes me so happy. So that is my scavenger hunt item, something I use in here every day that is not made for quilting. All right. Let the tidying begin. So first I just want to talk about how you think about things. I tend to be a person, when I tidy, I like to pull everything out and sort it and then put it back. And the sorting has a process to it. But there are other ways of doing this and other ways of tackling it, because that can be overwhelming if you particularly have a lot of things that you have to do. So another way to tackle things is to take something very narrow. And I've done a lot of that so far this year when I've given suggestions for this, telling you a specific thing. Doing something very narrow, very contained, very tight, so that it doesn't take a lot of time, it's not overwhelming, but you are moving forward. You're making progress. The other thought process that I've been reading a little bit about is the thought of containers. Like your containers only have, can only hold so much. So if you decide, let's say books, if you decide I only want to have one bookshelf of books, well then your favorite books, that's all you keep is one bookshelf of books. Maybe you have a whole bookcase, maybe it's 2 shelves, and that's it. So that if you get a new book, then you go through and you find one that you're no longer using or can be gifted to somebody or repurposed to another organization, that kind of a thing. That size is it. Think of your sock drawer. Mine right now is overflowing, honestly. I mean, I only wear so many socks, right? I have so many socks. But a sock drawer, that's it. I'm not going to make a second sock drawer. If it can't fit in there, I know I need to do something. So really, it's bad. So the idea of a container, what you have is that much space. And so if you can't fit it in there, you need to think about what to do about that. And I know that can be hard for some people. That can be hard because you just want to keep everything, and some of you do. But for those of you who don't want to keep everything, who do realize that yes, you want to have just what's making you happy or that you're using, here we go. So what I'm going to do is just take the containers first from the 2 rolling carts. So I pulled them both over here, these 2, and I do have a few things on the one that's on the end that I showed you the other day, and that end one doesn't have a whole lot on it. But these 2, what I'm going to do is take these out and everything that's in there, and I'm going to sort it on the table, because most of this probably should not be in those what do I want the purpose of my rolling cart to be? Do I just want it as long-term storage? No, I don't. I do not want it as long-term storage. What do I want the rolling cart to be? I want it to be something that I'm working on now, that's useful now. So I will lay this all out and then we'll take a look at it. I have taken everything out of these two. I have left what's in the top. This is a cross stitch that I told you the other day, if I just don't keep it up there, I won't do it. And this is Midnight Moon, which is working out perfectly there, so I don't need to take that out. That means I have 4 shelves and all of this that came out of there, that really most of this should not be in there. Some of this can be in there, but most of this should not be there. It should be somewhere else. So let's take a look at that. Here we go. Look, here's the 4 plastic bins that I have, which will fit perfectly on those 4 shelves. And I don't need to stack any. I will work out what goes in these. So does this feel overwhelming? I mean, this is quite a bit. Sometimes for me, it feels just a tiny bit overwhelming. But what I'm going to do is take each container and look what's in it and make kind of a pile. Now, one thing is this is bulky. It is the little cross stitch or project stand, which is awesome. It comes in its own little bag. So for now, this does not need to be in the rolling cart. I don't know where it's going to live, but I am just going to take it and put it out of the way because it's kind of its own thing. Now, other than what I have is I have fabrics, I have patterns, there's some books in here, I have cross stitch stuff in here, miscellaneous things like this one that was given to me and I loved. Red is the very best color for absolutely positively everything. So this is great, but it needs a different home than in a bin here under the rolling cart. That's not a good place. So what I'm going to do is sort this out and then we'll take a look, because I think what I want to do is put things that might be a project, like here. This one is the Ladybird, and I'm going to talk about this on Friday. I told you I was going to talk about it on Wednesday, but that didn't happen. I had a lot more things on Wednesday, so we will talk about this on Friday. So this is the kind of thing that actually will go back in the rolling cart because it's going to be an upcoming project. There are things like this that I need to take the brown fabric out of here, fold it, put it in my bins up on the shelf. So wherever my brown bin is now, which I think is over on the other side by the design wall, that's where the brown bin is. These all just need to get out of here and sorted. So that's one of the process. So I can take things like this, and I know there's a container for them. I know that there's a home for this already. Same with this. I know its home is going to actually be back in the rolling cart because it's a project I'm going to work on soon. Something like, let's see. Okay, so something like this, which I showed you, this super cute animal panel, and I would like to make into a project. I would like to do something with the checkerboards around it. So I have to make a decision. Does this go in a container for projects, or does it just go into, I actually have a place with some panels. Does it go with that? I'm not sure I still have a place with panels. I have to look at that because that's kind of a mess, because I have these shelves over here, these baskets over here that also need looked at. But for today, for this tidy up, it is just the rolling carts that I'm dealing with. I'm not dealing with any of those other things. Those will be another day's project. So that's the kind of decisions I want to do, is put all of these in piles like that. Then we'll go and look at what I ended up in the piles and what kind of piles I made. So here I am. I'm getting part of it organized. I have got these two are projects. Those are fabrics that don't really have a project yet. These are things I showed you the other day when I talked about this that I have to now, figure out what I'm going to do with. I know that I want to do a unicorn block. I know I want to do that cross stitch. This is a lot of patterns and things. This is patterns and bags and supplies. This is the cat book. Here we go. And those bags, this miscellaneous fabric, and then more patterns and books. So now I'm going to take and make these groupings in categories. Whew, okay, they're all They're all in piles now. Let's take a look at what I ended up with. So where should we start? Over here, there's a pile of books. So these are all books, and these are all quilt books. So there's a whole stack here that I need to start showing you. Some I've already showed you. So I showed you, but they're still here. So that was not good. Some I haven't showed you. I think I may have showed you this once, but I'll probably end up showing it again. Next is this pile, which are these foundations, which I have a place on this white bookshelf, so those have to go over there. Then they're bags, new bags that came in that I need to show you. All right. For the cross stitch, I work with the Fat Quarter Shop, so I get to see all of their new things, and I have been very derelict in showing you new stuff lately. It just fell by the wayside, so I will get back into that. But these are cross stitch and these are quilt patterns. So they're patterns, and oh, look at that. We were doing animals the other day. See, if I had had this out, I would have showed you the animals. Ah, look at that. I love those faces. So anyway, what else do I have in here that I haven't shown you? Like all of it, like crazy. Look at that, so cute. Okay, what else is on this? Now I've got it categorized. This was like some cross stitch that I actually had the fabric with it, and I ended up doing this on a different fabric than that. So that's kind of like, I guess you could call it a kit. It's sort of packaged together, so I need to figure out what to do with that, rehome it. New homes, new homes. Okay, so what's on these later stacks over here? This is notions, a bunch of different notions, a lot of it for cross stitch. So I need to go through here. These are those threads that I talked about. They were not for the pattern. So I think they're for the monthly one. So I need to verify that. So I just put them in here. So because this is all little stuff, I just put it in the bag, and then that way they're not going to get lost or misplaced until I get a chance to look at them. So they're all contained. So this whole thing has to be reviewed. Okay, let me just move these two stacks. We'll shift stacks here. Now I have two stacks of things that I want to work on. They're projects that I got to do something with. Now here I have a jelly roll, which I could do a jelly roll project. I got extra fabric because I just absolutely love all of this Sister Bay. Okay, so I have that. This one I showed you the other day, so it was all loose. I packaged it up, so it's all in its own bag now. And remember, this was from the Sew Sampler box. So I have it all ready to cut, because this is one that I actually think will be a fabulous one for me to do in the evenings. That I want to go ahead and cut this pattern up so that I can just pick it up and sew late at night, that everything's already cut, I don't have to make any decisions, and it's not a difficult pattern. That's what I'm doing lately that I really like. So this is another packaged up kit. I don't want to mess these stacks up. Okay, so this stack is also things that I want to do something with. Another package kit. This will be Ladybird to do a Oh My Stars for my hallway. And I have the panel I showed you. Since I want to do something with it, that's actually going to go on that project pile. So it's not just a fabric pile. Those are the project pile. The last pile I'll show you is just fabric. Now I have always wanted to do a shark block for Shark Week, so that's what I'm going to do, is make at least one of these blocks for a pillow for Shark Week, which is in August, I think. And I've always wanted to do this pattern. So this stack here is want to do. There's no fabric with it. It's not quite a project yet, is it? It's just something that's high on my list. Then the June cross stitch that I showed you, and the unicorn. So I put the thread with the unicorn pattern so that I could keep that together. The last stack is from those four shelves in the rolling cart. I had this that's all just fabric. It's not a project oriented. Just like the brown is fabric I have to put away. This fun piece that I got as a gift. Here's a Fat 8 bundle that I really like, and I'm debating what will I do with it. I have a layer cake like that. that I'm not sure what I'll do with, but I got this layer cake, and then an older layer cake that I also, it has the sunflowers, and I also gotten the fabric for it. So it's not really a kit because I don't even know what I'll make, but the fabric, it's just fabric. So I have to decide what to do with that. Now, these groupings, there's only a little bit of this that I want to put back on the rolling cart. I only want to put the things that are projects for right now. I'll let all the projects go back on there. They're not the best spot. I really would like to do is for the projects is go in here to my shelves. See in here? I know the light's in the way. So sorry, all the equipment's in the way, but these shelves, there are some in there, those containers that have things in them that they shouldn't be there. Either I'm not using them or it's something I no longer want to think about. You know, I need to rehome it because, you know, give it a new home because it's really not something I'm going to make. So there's some things here that could go in on those containers, but those containers have to be emptied. So in the meantime, what do? I have to either go ahead and continue this and empty one of those containers, which would then free it up and these things could be stored, or I have to have another place to keep them until that happens. But what I'll address first is the things that absolutely have a home, like the Notions bag. Well, this stuff definitely, I can, you know, go through it, put it where it needs to be. I have a whole bin of just cross stitch stuff and one for quilt things. The cloths, whoops, I just dropped a thing on the floor. These cloths, I have a place for them. The books, I have a place for them. Same with these. I think I already said that I have a place for them. The patterns, I talked about like I need a spot. So I brought out, this is an older bunch of magazines that I have something published in all of them. So I'm going to pull out what I had published, and this can hold all of the larger things. Remember I said I needed something to hold the larger patterns? That's what I'm going to do with that. Okay, my friend. This is how I went through those 4 carts. I will sort of get them all back together and show them to you on Friday. So I love you. Thank you for being here in the Sloan Zone and looking at my tidying up process. I will see you online.